The most beautiful thing about time is if you do something, it passes by. If you do nothing, it passes by. If you're joyful, it passes by. If you're miserable, it passes by. It's absolutely just, no matter who you are, how you are, for everybody it passes at the same speed. Only thing is, our experience of the time could be different depending upon how intensely we live or how slack we are. If you're very slack with life, it looks like time is passing by very slowly. If you're very intense, time just flies by. But in reality, time is happening to all of us at the same pace. These cycles of time whether it's minutes or hours or days, months or years that go by, these cycles of time anything that's cyclical is naturally repetitive, but anything that is cyclical also has a centrifuge or a centrifugal force, a force which is always trying to go away at a tangent from the circle. If you ride this centrifugal force of time, we say you're spiritual. If you are caught up in the cycle of time, then that's being material. If you're crushed by the cycles of time, then we say you're a suffering creature. It is the same cycle. Either you can be crushed by the cycle, or you can be trapped in the cycle, or you can ride the cycle. To ride the cycles of time, not to be trapped in it, definitely not to be crushed by it. Time is a crushing experience for a lot of people. Yes? Anything cyclical has this ability that it can crush you, or it can trap you, or you can ride it. In the yogic way of looking at things, we see time. Time is referred to as kala. Kala means both time and space. Kala means darkness. Darkness means that which does not stop light. Understand? If there is light going by, you won't see it. Only if it's stopped by something, you see it. So that which does not stop light is called darkness. So, that which does not stop light is empty space. So both space and time are referred to as kala because they're not seen as two different entities. Only because there is time, space is possible. Because there is time, you can move from point A to point B, so there is space. If there was no time, there was no way to move. The general perception is that because there is space, there is time. But I don't see it that way. Because there is time, there is space. Now, there is time which happens because of cycles. The planet spins once, it's a day. The moon goes around the planet, it's a month. The planet goes around the sun, here we are today. The cycles of time are one dimension of time. There's another dimension of time which is beyond the cyclical nature. This we call as the great time, it's called the Mahakala. There is time and there is greater time. Even when there are no cycles, there is time. But where there is no cyclical movement, there is no physical happening. Everything that's physical in the universe, from what is atomic to what is cosmic, everything is cyclical. If there are no cycles happening, there is no physical possible. When I said, if you take a tangent or if you take the centrifugal to ride away from the cycles of time, that means being spiritual. It's in this context that we know the cycles of time only because of physical reality. If we could measure, what is the speed of an electron around the proton or neutron, we could keep time, atomic time. A bit too much for us. So we measured the planets, how much time it takes to go around the sun. We said it's a year. We went little further down to days and hours and minutes and seconds. But all of them are cycles of the physical existence. If there is no physical existence, we would not know anything that's cyclical. If we did not know what is cyclical movement, we would not know the cyclical nature of the time. But before existence manifested in its physical nature, there was time. This is called Mahakala. That is an eternal space. You're not watching my words. I'm saying an eternal space. When there was no movement, when everything was still, there was time, but nothing cyclical happening. That dimension of time into which everything dissolved and from which everything sprang up. When certain energy touched it, it took to cyclical movement. When cyclical movement happened, physical happened. When physical happened, we could measure time. Otherwise, time was just space. So the word kala means both time and space. Sadhguru, we came for a party. And here you're going at us like this. It is important to know, or rather, it's important to touch and experience a dimension which is not cyclical in nature. Because what is cyclical is inevitably repetitive. What is cyclical inevitably runs itself out at some point. It runs itself down. Anything that's cyclical cannot be forever because it needs a certain amount of kinetic energy which is going to expend itself. When a human being touches a dimension which is not cyclical in nature, suddenly there is a new quality, a quality which is beyond all qualities, not good, not bad, not this, not that. Simply, like existence. There's nothing high about it, nothing low about it. It's just that you have moved from the surface to the source. Not that it solves all your problems, it's just that you won't know what is a problem. I said something about the India situation and this quote is making rounds, even reached the Prime Minister and he was laughing about it. I said, for every solution there is a problem. Just see. For every solution, somebody has a problem, isn't it? People may think for every problem there is a solution. But when you don't see any problems, when you see only solutions, some people have problems with the solutions. I don't know. What shall I do? What shall I do with myself? Which is all and nothing at once. What shall I do with myself? Which is me and you at once. What shall I do? Is this a problem or is this a solution? There may be a space where there are no problems and no solutions, just existence. For someone who pops out of nothing and pops out into nothing, what is a problem and what is a solution, I'm asking? Hello? You popped up from nothing, you're going to pop out into nothing. In this little space and time, what is the problem and what is the solution? I want you to figure this out. Hello? What is the problem? Huh? There's really no problem, no solution actually, but there are so many problems. Sadhguru, we don't know where you are living. Where I'm living, there are so many problems. I am also living among the kind of people that you are living, but yes, same sort. The question is just, what are you rooted into? If your rooting is just your physical body, some things are problems, some things are solutions. If you're rooted into your psychological framework, everything is a problem. If you're rooted into the existence, nothing is a problem, nothing is a solution. Everything is an experience of life. Everything is an experience. If I die tomorrow, that is also a very good experience. We don't wish it tomorrow, but if it comes, that is also an experience. No? You don't like it. Whether you like it or not, it happens, Yes? Whether you like it or not, it happens. Not that we're wishing it tomorrow, but if it happens tomorrow, what the hell? We don't want it tomorrow. We still got miles to go before I sleep, miles to go before I sleep. We don't know how many miles you will go, but if you look at life in its full depth and dimension, life is a certain amount of space. If you look at life in a linear fashion, life is a certain amount of time. If you look at life from your psychological perspective, life is a certain number of problems. Every day, I'm meeting all sorts of people, thousands of them. How many varieties of problems they have means is unbelievable. For sure, for every solution there's a problem. Birth is a problem, death is a problem, in between series of problems. Serial inventors of problems. One cycle is ending, a new year is coming. It's a choice that you have to make. Are you going to invest your thought and emotion and energy in making up problems or making up solutions or simply enjoying life for what it is? It's a choice that one has to make. Oh, this is my resolution, I won't make any more problems. To make resolutions, first you need a constitution. Do you have a constitution? Hello? You don't have a constitution? Now, like a nation has a constitution, a religion has a constitution too. One advantage with the constitution of the nation is we can amend it periodically. The constitution of the religions cannot be amended, it's fixed. Any change means violence will happen. If you suggest an amendment, they will kill you. That is their amendment. The national constitution, constitutions which make nations, it is open to debate and amendment. I'm asking you, you as a person, do you have a constitution? No, you have. What you like, what you don't like, this is what I will do, this is what I will do. I am a morning person, I am an evening person. I am a WhatsApp person, I am an email person, I am a Facebook person. There are constitutions, individual constitutions, maybe not written down, but it's there, isn't it? If you can pass a resolution, there must be a constitution. If there is no constitution, how do you pass a resolution about it? So there is… once you have a constitution, you are not alive, you are an institution. If you're living in an institution, you know what it means. It means you're a nutcase. Yes. No, not everybody. Either you're a nutcase or you're a spiritual aspirant. Yes. You are a seeker of sanity or you're a seeker of liberation. One of these things means you live in an institution. So, what resolution should I take for the new year? All resolutions are impositions. Where there is no consciousness, where there is no awareness to know life, from the aliveness of what it is, you want to fix it. If you pass a resolution today, in some way, you're making sure that you will not be aware for the next 1 year. Because awareness means a spontaneous response to life, moment to moment. As a resolution means fixed, prefixed. If you prefix your life, whether it's done by you or done by somebody else, if your government passes a resolution, all of you must hang upside down. In India, we would say a tamarind tree. Here, where shall we hang you from? What's the famous tree from which they hang people? No particular tree? Where to find an oak tree? Where to find a big oak tree to hang from? It's difficult to find them. In India, we say a tamarind tree for a particular reason. So let's say your government passes a resolution that all of you should hang upside down from a tree, whatever tree. We'll give you the choice of the tree. Will you suffer this? Will you protest this? Will you rebel against it or no? Yes. Whether your government passes the resolution or you pass the resolution, it's not any different. you're trying to achieve something by force. Anything that you try to do by force feels like you're hanging upside down. Yes, sir? You want to be like this, but you want to do this. You will feel like you're hanging upside down. When you hang upside down, you will feel like rebelling against it. So naturally, within 3 days, your resolutions will become dissolutions. Otherwise, you suffer hanging upside down. Very few suffer the entire year. Some will dissolve this in 3 days, some in 3 weeks, some in 3 months. But the very fact that they need one more resolution by the year end is a proof that it did not last the year. So there is no need to take any resolutions. But a resolution is made because you want to do something that you naturally not incline towards. But a simple thing is, are you inclined to be joyful or miserable? That was only 5 people. Are you naturally inclined to be joyful or miserable? The little ones? So, you can make an attempt to be conscious that joyful is my natural inclination. So how joyful will I be in the coming year? Just keep accounts. See, a lot of people who are doing business, they think they're keeping accounts only for the sake of IRS. No. You keep accounts not for the sake of IRS, because if you do not keep accounts, you do not know whether you're making profit or loss. That's the idea of accounts, isn't it? Whether you're moving forward or backward, to know this, you need an account book. Why don't you keep an account book? At the end of the day, just check, am I a little more joyful today than yesterday? If you had done this since you were 5 years of age, you would have been ecstatic by now. Profit side became like this because you never kept accounts. One day you checked, when it became very acute, then you see you're in a big loss. Every day, every month, just keep accounts. Am I becoming more joyful or less joyful? There are only 2 things. How joyful are you and how much joy do you give to people around you? This you can keep accounts. If you keep accounts of this, people are keeping accounts of their money as if they're going to carry it with them. The real wealth of life is how joyful you are, how wonderful is your experience of life. Joy is not a goal by itself, but it's a necessary ambience for life. If you don't set this one ambience, then whatever you have is just going waste. You may have health, that's going waste, because there are more people on this planet who are healthy and miserable than unhealthy and miserable. At least if you're unhealthy, you got a good enough excuse for your misery. You're healthy and miserable, there is no excuse. I want you to just understand this. It's just not smart to be miserable. This happened. A lady was driving and then she had a flat tire. She had never really done this changing tire business, but she read the instruction manual, she put the jack and lifted up the car, she undid the wheel. With great difficulty, she pulled out the heavy wheel from the boot and was trying to fix it, and these 4 nuts that she had kept it in the hubcap, and with her high heels she was struggling and she stepped on the hubcap and all the 4 nuts flew in different directions. So she put the new tire, but she had no nuts. Then she was cursing and wondering and miserable, what the hell to do now? And she was a little nervous because she was hearing all kinds of noises from a mental institution which was across the street. Then on the 3rd floor, there was a young man looking out of the window, watching this lady. Then he said, "Hey lady, look here. All you need to do is take one nut out of the 3 wheels and put the 3 nuts on this, you can drive to the gas station. With 3 nuts you can drive, no problem." She did that and she got the car down on the road. Then she looked up at him and said, "You're so smart, why are you here?" He said, "I may be nuts, but I'm not stupid." It's all right to be a little crazy, but you don't have to be stupid. All the so-called smart people who become like they're practicing a posture for their grave, you know. When I look at a lot of people, I think they're practicing and they're doing pretty well. But what they don't understand is, it doesn't take practice. When you die, it happens. Yes? Do you think you need to practice? No. Because you can't improve death with practice, but you can improve life with practice. Yes or no? However you do life, you can still do it better. Yes? But death happens super efficiently for everybody. You can't improve upon that. You think you can improve? No. You don't have to practice your final posture right now. It'll come naturally, believe me. It's not like life, there are no difficulties there. It'll come very naturally. You will do perfectly well in the grave. You don't have to have any doubt, you doesn't need any preparation. When you die, you will get it. But now with life, there is so much to do and more. How much ever you do, there's something more to do about life, isn't it? If you want to be at it, the fundamental ambience is that you're joyful. Otherwise, you will get this tremendously intelligent, idiotic question, to be or not to be. Yes. Intellectually seems very profound, but it's the most idiotic question. You don't have to decide not to be, it will happen. There were many idiots like you, countless number of idiots like you on this planet. who are gone. They don't have to worry about to be or not to be now. Anyway, they're not to be. This is our time on this planet. Yes? This is our time on this planet. What are we going to do? That's a question. Are we going to make this into an exuberant, joyful, wonderful planet? Or are we going to make this into a miserable, horrible planet? This is our time. We are free to do either way. The choice is yours. I won't tell you, take a resolution that you will make this into a wonderful planet. There is no such thing. The natural inclination of life is for pleasantness. If you choose to be very pleasant within yourself, pleasant things will happen. If you're feeling horrible within you and you try to do wonderful things, then I want you to understand the worst tyrants on the planet, those who top the baddie list historically, I'll pick up the worst of the lot. You take somebody like Adolf Hitler or Benito Mussolini, they really believed they are going to create a wonderful world. You know this? They had a dream of an ideal world. When you have horrible things going within you and you go at the world with very energetically, what you will create is a horrendous reality. Before you touch the world, if you want to clean somebody's face, your hands must be clean, isn't it? Is it not? Your hands are not clean, you try to touch this, it's not going to work. So before you touch the outside world, this much you must do to with yourself, that you are pleasant. When you are pleasant, whatever you touch will become pleasant. You are unpleasant, but you have good intentions, it is no good. I want you to understand, right now in the world, one situation that is happening in certain parts of the world, which almost everybody in the world sees as the most horrible things that can happen, they believe they are creating God's own kingdom. Yes or no? They 100% believe. You may question their intelligence, you cannot question their integrity because they're willing to die for it. When a man is willing to die for something, you cannot question his integrity, isn't it? You can question his intelligence and judgment, but you cannot question his integrity. Because when I stake my life, you must know, I mean it, isn't it? I'm not playing fool with it. It means more to me than my life. Yes or no? I want you to know, you have anger and hatred going within you, but you want to create a wonderful world. What happens? The consequence of that is a horrendous reality. It's not by intention that the world will change. It is by your consciousness that the world will change, how you are within yourself. If we don't fix this one thing, we will have intentions and intentions. The worst things have happened on the planet with good intentions, not with bad intentions. Yes or no? The most horrendous things have happened with very good intentions. So what intention you have is not important. What is your inner nature? This is important. Every action that human beings are doing in their life, knowingly or unknowingly, is in pursuit of their well-being. And you know you feel well only when you're joyful. Hello? Yes? You feel really well only when you're happy and joyful, isn't it? Or in other words, every single action that human beings perform is in pursuit of their happiness or joy. if they were joyful by their own nature, every action that you perform would become conscious instead of being compulsive, isn't it? This is all you have to do to yourself. This year, the coming year, and the coming year, and for the rest of your life, you just have to keep accounts from yesterday to today. Am I a little more joyful? Am I… You don't even have to worry about giving joy. If you are joyful, you will spread joy. Yes? Will you keep accounts, I'm asking? Or shall I set IRS upon you? Do you need enforcement? Most societies have been run for a long time by enforcement. So if there is nobody to enforce, no, that's not what happens. If there is nobody to enforce anything, you become joyful, isn't it? I want you to understand this, the difference between a resolution and moving towards the natural inclination of life. If there is nobody enforcing anything upon you, do you become miserable or joyful? So, you don't have to enforce any resolutions upon yourself, just little tools to make sure that you don't sink. Just keeping accounts. Daily, every day before you go to bed, you must check whether you're little more joyful today than yesterday, okay? If you keep this up, by the time you're 30, you will be ecstatic. When I was when I was just 25, I simply sat down with my eyes closed. Every cell in my body was dripping ecstasy, nameless ecstasies. Then I realized, this is it, nothing to be done. If you don't mess with your mind, you're ecstatic. The fool that I was, I made a plan. In 2.5 to 3 years' time, I'm going to make the entire world ecstatic because there's nothing to do. If you simply sit here, you know, 35 years. I have not lost it. A few people have gotten it. Yes, quite a few people have gotten it, but still not the world. Making some estimates, and on an average, in the last 3 years' time, we should be touching nearly 100 million people a year. But still, that's not the world. No, don't enjoy my failures. My idea of the world is 7.3 billion people. 100 million is not a success. It looks like I'm destined to die a failure, but I'll die a blissful failure. Because me being blissful is not dependent upon the results of my actions. My actions are rooted in my blissfulness. This is how life needs to be conducted, that your actions are rooted in your joyfulness and blissfulness, that joy is not a result of something that you do. The moment it is a result of something that you do, it will fly away in no time, because our actions in the world, not always are they successful. However well you do it, yes or no? However well you do it, not always are they successful. our actions are subject to various realities. Many forces have to come together for the success of any action. Not always they will fall together. So if your joy, if your way of being is enslaved to the success of your activity, then you being joyful is a very remote possibility. And above all, what will happen is, when you perform actions, if they don't succeed, if you are going to become miserable, after a couple of burns, then you will shrink. You will see how to restrict your life to minimal activity so that you will enjoy maximum success. If you cripple yourself, if you cripple yourself, you can participate in a race with people. Suppose you have only one leg, then you participate in a race with somebody who does not have both the legs, and of course you win. This is what most people are trying to do. The moment there is fear of suffering, of failure, what you will do is cripple yourself, restrict your activity. Only when failure doesn't matter, that you can go through your failure blissfully, you will do everything that you can do. Who cares whether it happens or not? We will do it and we'll do it well. If it happens, it's great. If it doesn't happen, it's very great because we can do it all over again. Joy is not a consequence of life or activity of life. Joy is a natural ambience which is necessary if you have to… Tomorrow morning if you have to wake up and want to do something, you need to have some joy in you. Otherwise, to be or not to be. Will it come or not? Suppose you wake up and tomorrow morning you're bereft of joy, nothing in you. You'll wonder, why am I here? Yes or no? One day, 24 hours completely joyless, will you wonder, what the hell am I doing here? Yes or no? Because this is the nature of life. If this life has to blossom, it needs the ambience of joy. So, we have given you the tools to live joyfully. You must keep accounts.